Hey guys, John here. Welcome back to the channel. If you would, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and keep coming back for more. Today, we're going to take on a special project. We're going to be a little bit creative. I'm going to try to build a 38.5-inch round table for a kitchen. Saw this new leg design using 4x4s. I'm going to try it out and we're going to see how it goes. There's probably going to be a lot of time lapse, not a whole lot of explanation, because I will be trying some things out and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some boards at 38.5 inches and we'll start working on the base. So I want to get the top built first. We're going to build that and we'll router it and then we'll start working on the base. So once again, I'm using my Flexvolt saw. I haven't actually charged this in quite a while and I still got 2 bars on each, and if it starts slowing down we'll just go charge the batteries. So like always, we'll square up the ends first and go from there. And this will be another popular farmhouse style table. Loosen that, loosen our slide. Make sure we can get all the way back. Pop that up. Always make sure you got some eye pro, ear pro if you need it. First board cut. Most are in 36 inches, but 38.5 will give us a nice almost full board on each end. So we'll come up 38.5 and that will be our center board. These are light so we can see our cut. Slide that over, make sure we're at 0. We're locked in, both sides square. And we're going to loosen this because this is a 6-inch wide board. Come back this way a smidgen. Because we're going to set our arc at 38.5. So as I was saying, we're going to set our center mark at 38.5. And the easiest way to cut these boards, really, especially when you're doing furniture, stack your boards, slide it down to where it's flush to the saw, just barely touching the saw. Flush there, flush here. And they should come up to be exactly 7 boards wide. And that's a little bit of waste we have. So we're able to get 3 38.5-inch boards out of this. So that's 3, we need 4 more. So 38.5. Looks like we can lose an inch on each of those. You know what, we'll just cut these 38.5 for the next 2 as well. And whatever scraps we have left over, we'll have left over. Grab our center board here with a red mark. Keep doing this the same way we've been doing it. Another little piece of scrap. And we should just need 1 more board. I don't know if we can get away with 6. It should be right at 7 wide. So we're going to double check our measurement here. See what 38.5 brings us to. Yep, we're at 33, so we at least need another 5.5 inches. Do this one the same way we did the others. Alright. The thing I love about these tough built sawhorses, basically idiot proof. This side open first, this side closed first. We're going to go get our light and set that up next. Look at our boards and figure out which side we want up. These typically It's the opposite side that the markings are on. So as you can see, that one's pretty rough. Make sure we put that side down. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit this quickly with a sander. That all looks good. So, seeing how we got a lot of finishing work we're going to have to do, we're just going to flip these over, stack them back up in the same order we took them down in. And anytime you're building any type of traditional farmhouse style furniture, you want some of the characteristics of the wood left. So, put that up. We're going to go grab the sander and drill, and we'll start doing the pocket screws. Alright guys, so we rough sanded these boards. What we're going to do now, we're going to start pocket screwing them together. We're going to actually draw our circle, and then we'll go in and we'll set up the router kit. Hey guys, so what we've got here is a circle guide kit. Pick this one up at Lowe's. This is a Milescraft circle guide. We've got our end bits here, so we can use those to take the screws out of our router to set this up. We got to mount the router to the base plate, and we're going to give it a whirl. So to set this up, we're going to open our box here, pull out our pieces. This is our guide. This is our large circle jig, which we'll use because we're cutting 38 inches. And you take your small numbers, put towards that end, slide it all the way in until it's flush, lock it down. Alright, for large, the large circle, that piece goes in the middle, and then you'll just adjust it here. Our table is going to be 38.5 inches, so we're going to just put 38.5 on our outside, or we can take 38.5, mark the inside of the circle. So we'll set it up there, and then all we got to do now is find the center of this board. And so our center board here is 38.5 inches. Okay, so 38.5 divided by 2, 19.25. So our center mark should be at 19.25. Got 19.25 that way. Double check it from the other end. Should be 19.25 this way. And we're right on the money. So 19.25. Alright, next thing we gotta do is find the center left to right of our board, because we're gonna drill a hole. So the board is roughly 5.5. So that should be 2 3/4 across. So we'll mark it at 2 3/4, which nice enough is right in the center of a knot. 2 3/4. Yeah, so we're gonna have to drill right in the center of this knot right here. So we gotta get our parts box out here. Inside of our parts box, we got a centering pin, and we've got our bit. And we've got our drill bit for drilling our pilot hole. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to mount this cap here to the center of this board. Take our drill bit, put it in our drill, and drill that hole. And you're not going to want to drill all the way through. Okay, so we've got that drilled. The next thing we're going to do, take this little wood screw that comes with the kit. We're going to tie this wood screw into the piece here. Put that in our hole so it lines up. We're just going to take our screwdriver, screw this flush into the wood so it doesn't move. We're just going to do it by hand. So that's perfect right there. So when we check our measurements, we should be roughly 2 3/4 from each side. 2 3/4 that side, 2 3/4 to the middle there, 2 3/4 a little bit over, so we're a little bit left, but that's alright. Overall length 38.5, we're at 19.25, and we're at 19.25 that way. So we're good enough for what we're going to do. So now that we've got that in, the first thing we need to do, take our centering piece, which is this right here, helps us center our router, but we can also use this to mark it. So to take our router base out, pull this tab, rotate it, pull that out, and to put our centering base in here, and it should just click right in. Okay, there's that. Pulling up our arrows here, rotate that around, put this back in. So it just drops into place like such. Turn. Okay, that's up. That's locked there. So push that in to make sure it locks. Move our extra parts away and our pieces. And this hole right here, this 38.5. Come over here to our guide. And we set our guide. Really, we want the outside of the circle at 38.5. So, I know you guys can't really see that. So we're just going to kind of line this up, squish it all together. Alright, there's that. And this is going to be the underside, so nobody will actually be able to see it. Move our router out of the way. And we're not going to do this with the router yet, we're just kind of marking it. So we're going to take our Sharpie right here. Just kind of keeping our Sharpie in the middle. There we go. When we come back with our router, after we put everything tight with Kregg Jig, the biggest thing is we didn't want to Kregg Jig where our boards are going to connect. So we'll be able to go back. We want at least 3 in each board in order to make sure we've got a good solid surface. And they're going to go in at an angle, but we also want to make sure our screws aren't going to be anywhere near this part. So we'll take our Kregg Jig. We'll just come in a couple inches on each one, because the Kregg Jig actually has to have some space. You want to offset it because that'll make it stronger. And we can come back with our Kregg Jig and we can put that together. We'll do our final router setup right before we're ready to route. Alright, next thing we're going to do is take our Kregg Jig, go to town. Circle will also help us line it up once we're done with our Kregg Jig. Now we're going through 1.5 inch material. We're going to set this up to 1.5 inches. Alright, our bit's still set at 1.5 inches, so that's good. Pull that out. Now this is a little bit older model, so the newer ones have some newer toys that come with them. But there's that, and then we just need our clamp. Once we get our clamp, we'll be ready to go. So in the next couple of sessions, I'm going to take the pocket screws, I'm going to pre-drill everything inside of the circle, making sure that I stay away from the line so the router bit does not make contact with the metal and damage either the router or the pocket screws themselves. Now would be the perfect time to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. When you hit the subscribe button, you can click on the icon on the screen or hit the subscribe button below. Once you do that, make sure you ring the bell so you get the notifications and any updates when I release new videos. Thanks for watching. So after I pre-drill everything, I'm going to come back, I'm going to install the correct pocket screws, screw everything together. I'm also going to use wood glue for an extra bond. I went a bit overkill with the pocket screws. I think I used a total of 32 pocket screws. You don't have to use nearly that many. Once again, only 2 to 3 pocket screws per board depending on the length. Also, after I got done with the pocket screws, I came back with a sander, knocked everything down where I pre-drilled it before I screwed and glued everything together. So first I'm putting some glue on, then I'm screwing. The important thing to note about pocket screws is you don't want to over tighten them. If you over tighten them, they'll just sit and spin in the wood and you lose your good strong bond with the screw holding everything together. Ideally I screw mine in until they make contact, and I bump it once or twice to make sure that I don't strip any of the threads out. And you can see the wood actually get pulled together, and this is an extremely tight bond. I've got it going both directions on the grain just for added safety because this was a prototype table. So all I'm doing here is I'm setting the router up. I just remove the 4 screws in the base plate and swap it out for the one that came with the kit. After you get the new base plate installed, you just turn and lock, set everything up, and then you want to cut about 1/8 of an inch per pass. If you cut any more than that, the router will start binding up. It's going to take you several passes to get around this. Once again, I'm going in a clockwise motion. I seem to find out that that cuts a little bit better. And then I took a few blocks of wood to make sure that I didn't actually cut through the wood and into my sawhorses, which are metal and would damage the router bit. As you can see, there's a lot of sawdust buildup here, and I'm going to do some dust extractor videos in the future. And I know there's a lot of debate out there about why having a dust extractor with cordless tools, and it's just something else to trip over, kind of like a cord. But as you can see, there's a lot of dust getting kicked up in the air. If this is drywall or everything else, dust extraction is extremely important. And even in woodworking, you don't want to breathe in a lot of dust, because there is glue, especially when you start getting into MDF and laminates, that you don't want in your lungs. So after I got done cutting the circle, I came back with a 1/4 roundover bit. Went with the roundover bit compared to the bullnose because I still wanted that farmhouse look or that saloon table look, especially being a small round table like this. This would be the perfect table for that small apartment, small house where you don't have much room in your kitchen, or for that guy or gal that's into, you know, drinking spirits or card playing. This is a nice small table. You can sit around with you and your friends and just have a good time. Went through last night. I lost a lot of the audio, I guess due to the rain or a bad connection. But with that being said, so we built our tabletop. We used 7 38.5-inch 6x6s. We took the router, went all the way around it using the circle kit. Did an excellent job. I'm talking super smooth finish, and then I finished it off with a bullnose. Now I'm going to start building the base. The base is going to be pretty unique. It's a new style I'm trying. Using some angles, it's basically going to taper up 4 columns to the middle, and this will make a nice side table or dining table for somebody. And this is just a prototype, just to try it out. So let's see where it goes. You guys stay tuned, and we'll get started. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our screw out of the middle here. And you don't want to lose this because this goes back with your kit. So make sure you put this back in your kit. So for the base, we're going to use these 4x4s. All we're going to do, extend these out because we're dealing with the 8-footer. We're not going to square the end because we already know that we're going to use a 15-degree angle on each side. We're going to chamfer each side at 15 degrees. Make sure we got good contact there. Go ahead and open our saw up. Push that down, pull our pin, bring our saw up, make sure it's all the way across and flush, and then we'll slide it back. There's a big knot here, so we don't want that knot cracking, so we'll come up a little bit beyond that to make our cut. Make sure we loosen our slide, and here we go. Okay, now we did the math online. There's a calculator.net for using to do triangles. I already did our math here. So in order to have our legs 27.5 inches high, which is our average table height, we're going to need a point-to-point measurement from this inside angle to our outside angle of 28.5. And our cuts are going to be parallel. So we come here from the inside angle. And these have to be pretty well spot on because otherwise your table's going to have a little bit of rock to it. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to come up at 28.5 inches. The great thing about the lever lock is it gives you a nice solid base. Put that right on that edge. And this is always tricky when you're measuring the outside of an angle. To 28.5, which is right here. And we're going to do this just like we do before. We're going to use the same leg for our template. And we're going to just match up the template ends, and that'll get us pretty dang close. Instead of measuring each individual piece, the saw could be off a little bit. At least this way we'll know within a feel that we're the same. So keeping the same 15-degree angle, we're going to cut this one off. Here we go. Now I have not charged these batteries since my bed project, so that just goes to show you how good this thing is. Slide this in, Match up our ends here. Make sure we're flush against the fence, flush against that. Bring our saw down, make sure we don't hit our trigger. Double check everything without moving the bottom board. We're gonna remove our top board. That'll be right where we want it. So let's pull this board. That'll be our first leg. Come up here. Okay, there's our first leg. We're actually doing pretty well. We'll probably be able to get 3 legs out of one 4x4 section. In furniture, it's all about making sure it's the exact same. Now you can mark it and everything else, but we really just want to make sure everything's the exact same. So we'll need one more 4x4, and that should get us the rest of the wood we need. So against the fence, slide it back, keeping it on the fence. Make sure we pass through enough to where it's not going to move, and we'll cut this in. Okay. Just to show you guys what it's going to look like, is it'll look about like that, with this being the outside of the table, crossbar, crossbar. Then we may even rotate it 45 degrees. So our next cut is going to be 21.5 inches according to our sheet that we did our design on. Yep, so 21.5 and then 2 9-inch sections. This is where it's absolutely imperative that you get this spot on. So 21.5 inches, and this is actually outside to outside. Now we're going to rotate this 15 degrees going the other way, lock it down, flush, and then come up and cut. Okay. So that will be our center for our base. And we're going to make these two 9 inches exactly from the outside. Double check our width on our 2x4, which is 3.5. Yep. So make sure this is exactly 9 inches. Come back to 0, lock it in, a fist. That way if it does kick, my hand doesn't go into the saw. And come back to our 15, lock it in, take this, come down exactly our 9, go for our 15 degrees the other way. And now if you don't have a big fancy circular saw like this or a compound miter saw, you can still do this using a skill saw. All you do is you put your pivot on your mark, flip this over the right way. You're going to take your board and you're going to rotate it to where this end says 15 degrees, and then you'll put your mark. So there's our end, that's our 15 degrees. And we'll see how close that mark comes to our saw blade. If you were using a circular saw, you could do it 2 passes like that. And we are right on the money. Okay, there's that. Compare this one. And we're money. So now we can build our base. Our base will actually be rather easy. And so we are going to glue and screw this. Alright guys, so what we did is we cut our center piece at 21.5 inches, and we cut our 2 side pieces at 19 inches. I don't know if I was able to show you, but even if you've got a circular saw, you could still do this. All you do is you take your angle here, you run it on your board, and then you rotate it to where you see 15 degrees. Alright, so you can do the same thing here. At our pivot point, you rotate, and that would give you your 15 degree line. So just for an example, this is a continuous board and they're 2 opposite angles. We take this, we pivot to 15 on the triangle, and that gives us our 15 degree mark right there. So absolutely an awesome tool. Get one for Christmas or the holidays or your birthday. Alright, so we marked our center line on here. This one is exactly 10 3/4 inches, and we've got everything face down Our 4x4s are actually 3.5 inches wide, so 1 3/4 inch. Put a mark, and then we're just going to line those up. Now, when we're going to pre-drill both sides of this so that it's nice and strong. We could actually put 2 down here and 2 up here, but really the angles are going to give us the strongest bond, and then we'll glue it as well. So let's pull out our Kregg jig and get to work. For our tops, we're just going to put 2 in on each side, only at the top where nobody will see them. And do this the same way. Alright guys, so we put a drop cloth down and we're getting ready to paint our base. We're going to use a chalk paint for this. It's Rust-Oleum chalk paint. It's quick and easy. I'm going to use a brush, put it on. It's got good coating. Great thing about chalk paint is a little bit goes a long way, so you can get multiple projects done with it. We're going to let this dry for a little bit. Hey guys, John here. So we went back, we painted this black. We kept the white base, use that for another table. This is a 38 inch. We'll flip it over, no wobbles at all. So good to go. So this will make a happy owner before too long. It's about 27.25 inches off the ground, 27.5 inches high, which is a comfortable height for a dining table. It does seem low. Once it's finished though, it'll look really good. Mentions check out on all sides. It is a little bit on a slope, but it's okay. I'm not going to sit on this table. With the round design, you'll have to be careful with these wings because there's not a support out there. But for the most part, this will get a whitewash stain finish. Not quite sure what the customer wants right now. This is actually for my friend that helped me build the picnic table. And this is just a prototype. This table turned out beautiful. It will look even better once it's stained and finished. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell so you get the notifications. Once again, you guys get to see me live my dreams, but the true purpose of this channel is to motivate you to get out there and start building your dreams.